Hey guys, I hope you all are doing great and having fantastic life. So today I've come back with another interesting lesson. So if you are a new speaker, a beginner speaker, or an intermediate speaker, you want to sound like a native, you want to speak English naturally, fluently, and confidently without thinking about complex English rules. So in all these cases, you can follow these lessons. And over the course of 6 months, or maybe less than 6 months, you'll see a dramatic improvement in your English speaking. That's my promise. You'll see a huge breakthrough after 6 months. It's up to your dedication that how much time you spend with these lessons. But before starting the story, there are some steps that you need to follow. The first step is that I will tell you a story and you need to listen to the story actively, carefully, because if you don't, so you will have difficulty with the step 2. So the step 2 is based on question and answers. So in step 2, I will ask you some simple questions and you need to answer those questions. I don't only want you to answer those questions. What I want you to do is to shout the answers, to speak the answers aloud. Because the more physically you involve yourself, the more better you'll see the result. The sooner you'll see the result. And the last step is you need to repeat the same process every single day for a week. One lesson for a week. This is called deep learning. The more you involve yourself with these lessons, the better it will be. The better you'll see the results. So without any further ado, let's dive into the actual lesson. Before I tell you the story, I would like you to feel energetic because the best state of mind is when you're having a lot of energy in your body. This way, you'll learn the materials much faster. If you're not feeling energetic, what I want you to do is to stretch around a little bit and take deep breaths. Are you feeling good now? Now, let's get started. There was a dog. His name was Bob. He was a very shy dog. Okay, before continue our story, let me ask you some questions. What was there? A dog. There was a dog. Was there a cat or a dog? Well, there was a dog. Of course, there was a dog. What was the dog's name? Well, the dog's name was Bob. Who was Bob? Dog. Bob was a dog. Okay, I have one more question before we continue the story. What type of dog was he? He was a very shy dog. So there was a very shy dog named Bob. Well, Bob, the dog, also had some friends, and they all loved to speak English. Okay, we have some questions now. Who had some friends? Bob, he had some friends. How many friends did he have? Well, Bob had some friends. How many number of friends did he have? We don't know. We only know that he had some friends, but we don't know the exact number. Did Bob know how many friends he had? Definitely yes. He knew how many friends he had. Who loved to speak English? Well, of course, Bob's friends, they loved to speak English. Okay, one more question before we continue our story. Did they speak English daily or did they speak English sometimes? They spoke English daily. They loved to speak English daily. Bob also wanted to speak English, but his English was not good. He was a poor English speaker, but his friends were better than Bob. When Bob tried to speak English, his friends always made fun of him. Okay, tell me, who wanted to speak English? Bob. Bob wanted to speak English. Whose English was not good? Bob's. Bob's English was not good. Was Bob's English good? No, his English was not good. He was a poor English speaker. Who was a poor English speaker? Bob. Bob was a poor English speaker. Were his friends poor English speakers? No, his friends were not poor English speakers. So, what type of speakers were Bob's friends? Bob's friends were better English speakers. Was Bob better than his friends at English? No, he was not better than his friends at English. He was a poor English speaker. Who made fun of Bob? Well, Bob's friends. They made fun of Bob. Why did they make fun of Bob? Well, because Bob was a poor English speaker. That is why they always made fun of Bob. One day, Bob decided that he will become a much more better English speaker than his friends, and he will teach them a lesson. Okay, so what did Bob decide? Bob decided that he'll become a much more better English speaker than his friends. And who decided that he will teach his friends a lesson? Bob. Bob decided that he'll teach his friends a lesson. Who did Bob decide to teach a lesson? Well, to his friends. He decided to teach a lesson to his friends. So Bob was searching for a method in which he didn't have to study about English because he wanted to speak English confidently and fluently, just like English people. English people don't study English. They speak English without learning about complex English grammar rules. Okay, so what was Bob searching for? Bob was searching for a method. What type of method was he searching for? Well, for an easy method. He was searching for an easy method. For what purpose he was searching for an easy method? for speaking English. He was searching for an easy method to speak English confidently and fluently, just like English people do. Did he want to study English? No, he did not want to study English. Who did he want to speak like? He wanted to speak like English people. Do English people study English? No, they don't. They do not study English. Do they study English grammar for speaking? No, they don't. They do not study English grammar for speaking. So finally, Bob found a very interesting method on YouTube. After searching for more than 6 hours, he finally found what he was looking for. He found a YouTube channel where he needed to carefully listen to fun and interactive English stories. Okay, so now tell me, who found an interesting method? Well, Bob, he found a very interesting method. Where did he find the interesting method? Of course, on YouTube. He found an interesting method on YouTube. How long did he search for that interesting method? Well, Bob searched for more than 6 hours for that interesting method. What did Bob find on YouTube? Well, Bob found a YouTube channel where he had to listen to fun and interactive English stories. Who had to listen to fun and interactive stories? Bob. He had to listen to fun and interactive stories. In interactive stories, he also had to answer some simple and very easy questions. And he had to repeat the same process every single day. 1 week for each lesson to learn the tenses, all the sentences, patterns, and vocabulary deeply from each lesson. Did Bob only have to listen to the stories? No, he didn't have to listen to the stories only. He also had to answer the questions. How many lessons did he need to practice each week? Only 1 lesson. He needed to practice only 1 lesson each week. And how many days did he give to each lesson? Well, he gave 7 days to each lesson. Why did he give 7 days to each lesson? Well, because he wanted to learn the tenses, vocabulary, and sentences patterns deeply from each lesson. He gave 7 days to each lesson to learn all the tenses, vocabulary, and sentences patterns deeply. The teacher suggests to practice with each lesson once a day for at least a week. But he also recommends, if you have some free time, you should practice more to achieve the English fluency much faster. So Bob practiced with the lessons 2 times a day because he wanted to become a fluent English speaker as soon as possible. How many times a day does the teacher suggest to practice with the lesson? Well, he suggests to practice the lesson once a day. If someone wants to achieve English fluency much faster, so in that case, what the teacher recommends? Well, if someone wants to achieve English fluency much faster, then that person needs to practice with the lessons 2 times a day. How many times did Bob the dog practice? Well, Bob the dog practiced with the lessons 2 times a day. What did he practice 2 times a day? The lesson. He practiced with the lesson 2 times a day. Why did he practice the lesson 2 times daily? Well, because Bob the dog wanted to become a fluent English speaker as soon as possible. After 1 month, there was no change. After 2 months, still no change. After 3 months, Bob the dog saw a very small improvement in his English speaking. He was very worried about his English, but he didn't lose his hope. Every day he was consistently practicing with the lessons. Finally, after 6 months of hard work, there was a huge change. He became a fantastic English speaker. After 1 month, did Bob the dog see any improvement? No, nothing. After 1 month, Bob the dog saw no change. Did he see any improvement after 2 months? No, no improvement. Did he see any improvement after 3 months? Well, yes, after 3 months, he saw a very small improvement. Was Bob worried when he didn't see a big improvement in his English? Well, of course, yes. He was so worried when he didn't see a big improvement in his English. Did he leave the English lessons when he didn't see a big improvement? No, he did not. He did not leave the lessons when he didn't see a big improvement. He was consistently practicing with the lessons every day. For how long did he practice with the lessons? For 6 months. He practiced with the lessons for 6 months. What type of speaker did Bob become? He became a fantastic English speaker. After 6 months, he finally became a fantastic English speaker. After that, whenever Bob went to his friends, they were stuck while speaking English. Now, his friends never made fun of Bob. In fact, His friends were afraid of Bob. His friends always made excuses when they met Bob. Oh, I have some work at home, so Bob, I'll see you later. Oh, Bob, my mom wants me to come home, so Bob, bye, I'll see you later. So these excuses they made. Who were stuck while speaking English with Bob? Of course, his friends, they were stuck while speaking English with Bob. When Bob the dog became a fantastic English speaker, did his friends ever make fun of him? No, never. They never made fun of Bob when he became a fantastic English speaker. Did his friends want to talk to Bob, or were they afraid of talking to him when Bob became a fantastic English speaker? Well, they were afraid. His friends were afraid of talking to Bob when he became a fantastic English speaker. What did Bob's friends do when they met Bob? They always made excuses. Uh, uh, I have some work at home, Bob. Bye. I'll see you later. Bob, my mom wants me to come home, so Bob, I will see you later. So these excuses they made. Afterwards, Bob was so happy when he finally became a fantastic English speaker. That's the end of this story.